What's up, good people, man? You got your real estate investor next door, Byron Scott, here with your guy Cordero. And man, another day of wholesaling, man. Happy wholesaling. Um, Thursday getting close to the end of the week, man. So you're always counting up what we done this week. Um, but man, today we're gonna be talking about how you can consistently do wholesale deals, right? Not just your first deal, you know what I'm saying? Not just one deal, but how
Yeah,
do you keep deals coming? Like how do you keep the pipeline full and deals keep coming and coming and coming? You know what I'm saying? Because every time you turn around, this guy closing deals, closing deals. It's like, how do you do that? You know what I'm saying? I always say like a lot of people close one deal, right? But can you run a wholesale business? And I
yeah,
was just watching the thing. It was strange. It was who was that? I think it was like TD Jakes and somebody else. They were sitting there talking, and he was saying that like it's hard for people to keep consistently doing stuff and build a business because they always want their hands in it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be the person to do this. I gotta be the person to do that. I gotta be the man. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
yeah,
me saying, "Hey, Cordero, yeah, you take care of that, Cordero. Go ahead and handle it." You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or instead of delegating and getting people to do their job, you want to be the one with your hand on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think I've done a pretty decent job at doing that. Sometimes I look and I want to put my hands in it, and a lot of times when I put my hands in it, I want to messing it up. But anyways, today we're gonna be talking about how to consistently do deals. You guys can ask questions. Make sure you leave it in the comments. Let us know where you at, where you from, man. We want to know what market you in. I might be interested in going into your market, man. Cordero put me on. He told me about his market, and I had to go. I had to go tap in. So let us know where you at, man. We got anybody that's watching this out in Fort Worth. Holla at us. We need you on the deal. But yeah, man, we finna jump right into it, man. So what do you consider, or what do you think about when you think about what it takes to consistently do deals? Like, what do you think is some things that somebody would have in place if they are consistently doing deals?
yeah. That's a good question, man. And I think you touched on a lot of them. But I think when I think of consistently doing deals, I think that's consistent outcome or output, and I think the biggest thing is consistent input. And every time, if you can look back, wherever you at, if you, and especially to your point, if you're in the beginning and you doing everything yourself, you will notice it. You know, internally and just judging based upon what have I done today, how many calls have I made, how many texts have I sent out. Assuming it's all on you in the beginning, it's just like you'll notice that, oh man, I ain't do no deals in this month. My output dipped, some dipped, or it's like I got a deal. I got a couple deals. I got two deals locked up, and I spent more time focusing on doing those deals and getting those deals to the closing table than marketing as much, than actually putting more input. And I focus on that. And I heard this quote from Mark Spain. He talks about uh, taking care of business doesn't take precedent over getting new business.
Yeah,
Um, you know, take business to handle itself; it'll work itself out. But you got to have the capacity within you to go ahead and say, um, no matter what's going on, I got deals going to the closing table. I'll get those straightened out, but I got to consistently be marketing. If you cold calling and you say I'm a cold call 4 hours a day, or you got VAs, and that's where the delegation comes into play, where it's just like that just makes it easier to be more consistent, and that makes it easier and a lot more manageable to do. Is when you've figured out systems and processes around each task, whether it's your text messaging funnel, or it's your cold call funnel, or whether it's your PPC or whatever it is. When you've got like a system around it, it's easier to delegate and put like a VA there or somebody in that position. And when you don't have to physically do it yourself, then that just makes consistency that much easier. But I think it boils down to the one thing that it boils down to. The one thing is consistent input equals consistent output,
Yeah,
regardless.
no doubt. No doubt. In order to make something consistent, though, it's like, in order to make something consistent, you have to make sure nothing is in the path. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to flow, and you have to make it flow. Have to make it where it flows, and nothing really stops it. You know what I'm saying? It needs to flow as smooth as possible so that nothing blocks the flow of deals. Like, let's say
Yeah,
Cordero got his business set up, but if he ain't calling, then he ain't gonna get a new deal or he ain't gonna get a new lead.
yeah,
What if Cordero gets sick?
that's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
bottleneck.
Cordero gets sick.
Yeah,
What happens when Cordero got something going on and he can't sit down at that dollar? So now there's no leads coming in. There's
exactly.
nobody for Cordero to talk to try to get him under contract. So
Yeah,
I think they call that a bottleneck.
that is
You know,
what they call it, the bottleneck.
stopping deal flow. And that's been my big thing. Like, I don't want nothing to stop deal flow, not on me. So like my VAs will always ask me like, "Hey, should I check with you before?" No, don't check with me. It's like, go, like, just do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I always want my VAs to just do it. And I got a process for, okay, if this VA go down, how do we get another person to replace them? You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So even if the person that's supposed to do that job goes down, they quit, they get sick, they, whatever. Okay, how do we replace them? How are they replaced? How are they tasked replaced by somebody else? You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So just making sure that you don't have no bottlenecks is like, okay, what if this person don't do this? Or what if this person not available? Basically,
yeah,
what if this person is not available? Right? So,
yeah.
then what? You know what I'm saying? Then what? It's like you got to have stuff in place.
And that's super big, man. When you have a bottleneck, and there could be bottlenecks at multiple points in your marketing funnel. It could be a bottleneck at the lead generation stage. It could be a bottleneck at the lead management stage. It could be a bottleneck at that acquisition, at the disposition, wherever, whatever. And you can kind of handle that. But the biggest way to get around bottlenecks is that having systems and processes in place. So we love to use the example. I love to use the example. If you think about McDonald's, it's just like McDonald's, the guy that's taking your order more often than not is not the guy that's cooking your food for you.
Yeah,
And oftentimes, especially if we think about the drive-through, the guy that takes your order, the guy that cooks your food, and the guy that hands you your food, totally different, all different people.
yeah. But
But
have you ever been to a restaurant where that was the case? Where a person was taking your order and they ain't going back there?
yeah, lying backed up, service that that person. Sometimes that person could be just the nicest person in the world, and they're just like, "I'm so sorry," but
Most of the time, that person is the nicest person in the world.
a lot
But
of times that person could be super ghetto and frustrated. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but try going back to that restaurant a couple of years from now.
If it,
Is
yeah,
he,
you're
is
right.
either he is no longer cooking that food, he is the person taking your order is no longer cooking the food, or that company ain't even there no more.
The restaurant no longer there in Nashville. It's no longer there. But here's what they do is they got McDonald's has system and processes. So if Carl, the guy who usually takes the order and is the first guy at the window to take your money, how can I help you what you need? If Carl can't show up, it's not like, oh, what do we do? Carl got sick, so we can't take orders. I know how to cook the food, and he know how to give the food out once I prepare it. That's kind of his specialty. He know how to get you your sauce, make sure your stall's in the bag and all of that. But don't nobody know. They have a way of doing that process where if Carl gone, they can put somebody else there, and it's like clockwork. Now they don't have to figure it out. It's not relying on one person. It's just like this is the job itself, and here's the job. It's detailed, and the guy who does this right here does this, and we have a way we do it. And I always use that as an example because Byron would say you need to have a way you do things, and I would compare it like this: try to go to McDonald's and say, hey, nah, I don't want to give you my money and then go pick my food up. I want my food at the first window. I'll give you my money at the second window. Let me try it like that. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because that's the way McDonald's does things. They say for our system, for us to get you service efficiently and for us to consistently serve people, get them in this drive through and out the drive through consistently, this is the way we do it. And it needs to fit this way. And nobody's just like, no, hey, I want my food for no. Everybody's like, okay, here go my money. I'm gonna drive down there. My food better be there. And it's, sometimes it's not right, whatever. You know how that goes. But they get it fixed in the process, but for the most part, it's volume because they have system and processes. That way there's no bottlenecks because they have ways to do it. And then also too, it's not like if I'm taking the order and Byron say, man, I want a Big Mac. It's not like we got one guy that know how to cook the Big Mac. Oh, it's Mac in the back, and Mac ain't here today. You can't get a Big Mac. And there are some restaurants that's like that. Like you go to a Jamaican spot, they be like, well, we don't have that today. We don't have that. They just be straight up. But we're talking about real business, corporate giants that can perform consistently. And it's based upon when you go. I've never worked at McDonald's, but I think a lot of people have. But I know when you go there, it ain't no to make it how you want. Every detail down to the sauce, the pickles. And so in this business, so you gotta let your VAs know, hey, it's just like when you call, this is what I need you to say. When this is how you log into the dialer, you read off this script. If they're qualified, you qualify them based upon this. If they're qualified, you send them over. I don't have to do that every time because I had that written out. And going in a step further, you can have somebody or one of your VAs create a video for you, and log it in. But I'll let Byron tell you about that. So what Byron on top of that, and like I said, creating systems and processes, I think is the best way to get rid of those bottlenecks because that allows you to put the people in place. But you've done a way better job at doing that than I have. So, what are some things that you've done to create systems and processes, and maybe some other ways to get rid of bottlenecks?
What's going on, Glennon? How you doing? What's up? Y'all comment in the side, man. Where you from, Glennon? You let us know what market you in. But yeah, man, I would say like one of the biggest things too is like when you give somebody a job, let them do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm gonna let Cordero be the acquisition manager, I'm pretty much gonna let him do his thing. It's like, dude, it's like if I saying something, I'm probably getting in the way. It's like, and it's like there are times where I'm like, man, let me stop. I'm getting in the way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he used to ask me something like, man, Cordero, do your thing, man. Go and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want people to be able to do whatever they need to do. Like Cordero asked me, like, how does she know? How does she figure this out? How does she know how to do this, that? I'm like, dude, I let people do their thing. It's like, go do your thing, allow you to make mistakes, allow you to learn. Like, that's how you're going to get better. It's like, if you don't let somebody make mistakes, like, how they going to get better? You know what I'm saying? You got to let people make mistakes. You got to let them learn. And then, okay, we correct this and we move on. We correct this and we move on. It's like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest things, too. Not only just having stuff for people to do, but letting them do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they're not doing, then get rid of them and find somebody else that will go at least do, right? They at least got to be doing stuff, Yeah. But as far as making mistakes, let them make mistakes, correct them, move on. They'll get better. They'll develop. They'll grow. And you'll have a person that's better. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I put people in place. So Glenda is in DC. I'm marketing whoa, you got somebody out there in the DMV. I always wondered about that market, man. That little area between DC and
Maryland,
Virginia. Yeah, it gotta be popping, man. I think Alexandria is like a big city up there, but yeah, it gotta be popping, man. North Carolina is a good market too. I was telling somebody earlier today, it's like, dude, North Carolina be popping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I always believed in North Carolina because Charlotte's going nuts. And New Jersey. I never heard anybody do anything in New Jersey. But shout out to Jersey, man. My auntie lived up there in Jersey. So Cass says, what's good? Cass, man, what's going on, man? Shoot, Cass is out there in California, man. I think Cass is still Cash, where you marketing at, man? Where you marketing at? This is why, standard operating. Hey, speaking of standard operating procedures, man, I got to show you some stuff when we jump off this. Yeah,
Mhm.
man, remind me, standard operating procedures, I got to show you some stuff. But Caretha knows she a beast, man. You know what I'm saying? Caretha got it all down. Um, but yeah, standard operating procedures is big, man. And like that's one thing that kind of helped me is like making sure that there's a way that we do things, communicating that, and then letting people do their job. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
another other big thing was knowing how to replace. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting people, put them in positions, and then how do I replace everybody? You see what I'm saying?
So you mean like churn, like employee churn, or just like
Yes. It's
okay,
like, okay,
for sure,
I
for sure.
gotta get rid of this person. How are they replaced?
That's big. And this is just making me think, it's just like ultimately what you'll notice is when we talk about doing deals consistently, then you just gotta start thinking business minded. And I think that's what I tell a lot of people is just like, um, when you think about doing your first deal, that's one thing, but then you got to switch from I just want to do a deal to I need to like build a business or build a company. And so company have to think about things like how do I deal with churn? Like
Yeah.
standard operating procedures. And you're like, man, I got to do a standard operating, but no, it's so that way you can do the consistent deals and deals can come through and you can put people in place. And then when that VA is tripping or not responding to people or showing up talking about
You
stuff.
know what I'm saying? Stuff happen to people. You know what I'm saying?
People
One
did.
thing,
Boy,
the first thing that I did was create positions. How do you want your company to look? You know what I'm saying? I'm at the top, department. You know what I'm saying? Who's all in this department? What are those people doing? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's when you can, break roles and responsibilities down. Then you can get to the standard operating procedures. You know what I'm saying? You need to know what the business look like first. The
yeah.
business look like this. You know what I'm saying? This is how the business look. And then, okay, this
What
position.
did all do?
Like I shared on one of my lives a while back, just like a company structure. And I was telling them, it's like, I don't have these positions filled. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the different positions.
Yeah, but you still need that.
But
Yeah,
you know that, hey, look, I know I'm gonna need this person to do this. When I do, that's a different position. When I do that, that's a different position. Like I used to do all my transaction stuff. Now I don't do nothing with the transaction. I just sign the paper. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Sign the
yeah,
papers, sign closing documents. They send me stuff, sign the papers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I used to do all my disposition stuff myself. Now it's like disposition is done. You know what I'm saying? Disposition is done. Disposition manager. You know, I used to call up all the sellers myself. Now I got a lead manager, I got an acquisition manager. Boom, done. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like you start putting people in positions, put them in positions, let them do their thing. Simple.
Yeah. And this is something I want to say because depending on where you at in your process, this could make sense or it could not make sense. Or you could be like, man, that's a mountain I got to climb up. It's like you set the way the company needs to look in the different roles. And then in the beginning, you're working, if not all, you're probably working the majority of those roles, but you still have those roles defined and those processes for each role defined. And then as you work and work and get successful, you find the right person for the right role. Then you put them in that role and then you work yourself out of that role. And that's the goal. And you want to do that for each role. So it's like if it's marketing, lead manager, acquisition, disposition, and transaction, you might have a VA that does your marketing for you and you doing all the rest of them
Yeah.
until you can find a transactional core. I don't know if there's like a one way that you should work yourself out. Maybe it's as you find the right person. That's
Yeah. I think it's like two things. One, what do you feel most comfortable giving up? And two, what, you know,
yeah.
like can you find that type of person that can fit that position?
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
what
I'm
I
saying?
was gonna say. It's like
It's like,
if you
okay,
find the right person.
you know what I'm saying? I can find the right person I feel good about that I can stick in that position. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? For me, um, you know, the first people I hired was like cold caller, cold texters, lead manager. When I got a lead
Marketing.
manager, that
Yeah.
changed everything. You know why that changed everything? The follow up game. It's like, dude, the deals in the follow ups and who's following up. I had nobody freaking. I was following up based on what was in my brain and what was written down. But when you have somebody dedicated to
So
following
just
up,
following up. The key is
it's
in
like,
the that's
and
consistent deals right
managing
there.
the leads, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's like that lead manager changed everything for me. You know what I'm saying? Changed
Yeah.
everything. And then after that, I got a transaction coordinator, disposition, acquisitions. Like that
Yeah.
was the order, but you know,
But I
the
think it might be I'll
go
say
ahead.
I think it might be different for I don't know. I think it might be different for everybody. I'm still
Yeah,
trying to fill the positions in my company, but I was watching a podcast. What is it? All In podcast, and I think they were talking about how it's just like you want to go after you. Obviously, you can delegate like the little marketing tasks, like cold calling, those stuff first. But they were talking about hiring like stateside in-house people, like people here, like real people to join your team. There's like the first hire you want to do in that regards is acquisitions. It's a
yeah,
sales person.
yeah,
That'll just crank things up for you is what they were saying.
yeah, for sure. Like if that's probably the most important person. Is the person who's gonna put more people on the contract. But it's like if you somebody like Cordero though, and you work like me, I was putting people on the contract. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I was the person putting people in the contract. So it's like I got that. You know what I'm saying? What I didn't really have was transactions. It's like I really
Right.
didn't have transactions. Like, dude, I was dealing with a million emails from attorneys' offices, all this stuff. I'm like, dude, Lord, like once I got rid of the transaction coordinator and all that, I was like, I'm good. Put more people in the contract. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let's go. Let's get some more people under contract. Let's get this thing rolling. And then the next
Yeah.
thing I thought was, man, it'd be nice if I didn't have to deal with the buyers. You know, if,
Because
if
that's
I
the
had,
key.
you know, if I could, because I still was dealing with the buyer. I was getting people on the contract, but then I had to get the buyer in the contract. So it was like, what if I could just only think about getting people under contract? It's like I wake up and it's get people on the contract. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's the only thing I'm looking for. So like I think for me it was like that, but like you said, I think it's different for every person. You know, you just
Yeah.
have to find your own way, man. You just have to navigate and find your own way. But the things that's across the board is outline what you want your company to look like, set up the different positions that cover all the processes, and then figure out what their roles are going to be. Write up some standard operating procedures, like if you already had a person. Because when I hired my transaction coordinator, I had slides, I had all the stuff that she was going to do. I already had it written out. This is like she came in and it was like it was like you was at a real company. I had a PowerPoint, going through the PowerPoint.
A real company.
This is what you do. This is what you do. Da 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 da. Here's your email. Here's your, what I'm saying? It's like,
So you got to make sure you do this. And welcome to RLS Realty Services.
exactly.
But yeah,
Oh,
you speaking to a great point, and this is just maybe some food for thought for somebody who's thinking like, like on the other side of this, like, how do I start? Or once you get your first deal, how do you start to make that? This is like really you base it around what you do the best. You want to build a company around that to kind of put you in the driver's seat to where I could do that. So if you better at acquisitions, or you probably want to get some people that like make it to where you can only focus on acquisitions. And the things that you feel like are lesser tasks that somebody as you develop, replace those first, and then make your way back to you. Because at the moment, you'll probably be the best one to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Because I just thought about this. Like an analogy would be like, if Cordero was, if Cordero was like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
If Cordero was Michael Jordan, it's like he don't need to go and hire Kobe. You know what I'm saying? He need to go and hire Shaq. You know what I'm saying? He need to go get him a big man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he needs
Don't
Pippen.
get Scottie Pippen. Don't get Kobe. Kobe gonna take out. Kobe gonna try to take all the shots too. Just like
Right.
you
And then at
get
that point, we doubling up on taking. Then you're creating a bottleneck because now it's like, okay, now we're creating more, and now I still have to deal with transactions, and that's stressing me out already. Now we're both doing one thing, and it's just like I'm trying to do something. Now we got more of this to deal with, and I got more dispo to deal with when I know I'm better at getting properties under contract. And then on top of that, too, I guess a point is like you hire somebody who's better at it than you are, not just somebody who can do it, but somebody who like better at it, or the idea is that they get better at it at some point than you can. So it's just like I'm gonna hire, put Scottie Pippen on the team. I'm gonna put Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman get all the rebounds.
will
He's
never
the
get rebounds. He ain't
nothing
trying
but
to get one
rebounds.
shot.
Mike ain't trying to get his own rebounds. Let me get a person who can get. He put his team together. He said, "Let me get a person." And so, really, when you start the business, you are a hooper. You're trying to figure out how to hone in on your craft and skills. And you need, as time goes on, once you get your first deal, you'll ascertain whether you are a shooter or am I a big man. Maybe I'm the best big man. But as time goes on, you start to build your team. Like
Maybe
I
I'm
need.
just a defensive player. You know what I'm saying? I just hustle, man. I ain't really got no skills. I'm just
I'm
a
a
player.
good defensive player. Yeah, yeah. But here's my point: is at some point, just so you understand the trajectory, at some point you want to get off the court. You want to be the coach, who the coach has, and that's kind of how Byron acts. It's like he's the coach. He's just like he's not actually taking the shots, but he has an aerial view of the whole thing. He's like, man, do this and put this here. Here's the plays, and here how we run this, and put this all together. Y'all go do it though. The coach is very, very the most important because they can all do that, but they don't have that aerial view. While you in the game, things will look a little different. But you get to a point, you want to get to a point where you're not playing, you're not even Michael Jordan, you're the best coach in the world.
Phil Jackson.
You're the Phil Jackson of the thing. That's where you want to get to. So think about how if I created your a basketball journey or a business journey, it's like first you get your first deal. Then as you start to get momentum, you need to start thinking about to do consistent deals. You need to start thinking about putting the right people in place that are better at me so I can focus on doing what I do best. And then at some point, then as Michael Jordan, I would then hire a Kobe. I'm like, yeah, nah, it's time for me to put a Kobe in place. I can
once you become Phil Jackson, once you become Phil Jackson, then it's like, okay, Michael Jordan is no longer on my roster. Let me go,
exactly.
Find me a coach.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And so that's just kind of how you do it. And the reason why we talk like that is because once you do that, then that means, like we said it in the beginning, there is no bottleneck. There is no, because ultimately, if you want to do consistent deals, that's consistent output, you need consistent input. You need people who are consistently generating X amount of leads and then pushing those X amount of leads to the lead manager to consistently be warming them leads up. Are you ready to go? Not really. What about now? Do you want to sell? Hey, how are you? How's your dog? How's your daughter? Has she graduated school yet? And then finally, she can push that person to acquisition and consistently be doing so. And then acquisition can consistently be working with these people to get them what they need. Are you ready to go? Can we get you what you need? Can we get you locked up? And consistently be pushing those locked up contracts to dispo. And then dispo is like consistently getting them signed with a buyer, consistently doing that. It's not like, when Byron feel good, when Byron got a headache, when his kids are out of school, or when his kids are at school, when his kids are taking a nap, or when they take text messages are being sent down right now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so
people getting talked to right now, literally.
Talk to at this very moment. And so it's just like, and then dispo sends it to transaction coordinator, and it's always consistently be doing so. That's how you consistently do deals. And there's levels to that. So there should, at some point, there is a point where you can look back and be the Phil Jackson, and that's still work, but it's not like working in the business. At that point, you're working on the business. And that's more of a tapping into that entrepreneurial mindset of the whole thing. And that's one of the biggest things, back to what you said in the beginning, is when people think I got to do everything myself. That's one of the myths. That's one of the biggest entrepreneurial myths is you think if I don't do everything by myself, then I just somehow, I don't get the credit. I don't know what it is. I thought like that too, but I quickly got rid of that. And you think then that means I can't, I'm not doing it. But there's no like, that's like Michael Jordan going up against the Magic and his team back in the day by himself though, just Mike. That doesn't make sense. Even the greatest had a team. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like you got to have a team. You never have you pull up to, regardless of what we're talking about. Never have you pulled up to a McDonald's and it was a one-man show.
Oh
It
no.
might be a two-man show. It might be one dude like doing it and he got a cook and you be like, "Hey, are you the only one in there?" He like, "No, it's a cook." He be like, "Dang, bro, I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? "I'm sorry that I ordered all of this." But
Yeah,
it
but
ain't,
it would be strange for even two people to be inside of that though.
bro.
It would
Go
be
late
strange.
night. Go
Yeah,
late night.
yeah. Oh yeah, late, for sure. I'm just saying though, you walk in the middle of the day,
Woo, that would
you
be
at
that would be
McDonald's,
good.
you be like, something ain't right. It's like,
You know what I mean? Some who quit? Who quit right before I pulled up?
exactly. Somebody that quit. But
Who
shoot, man,
walked
let's
out?
get some of these comments, man. Cass said he in Cali, he in Florida, Iowa. I knew it was somewhat crazy.
Hey man,
He in
Cash doing anything.
Iowa wholesaler, man, and in Ohio. So
Cash
yeah,
just said, "I'm gonna pick all the markets that nobody ever talks about." Cash doing
exactly.
anything. Shout
So
out to
Jamie
Jamie
Buck,
Buck.
what's up? Jamie Buck coming through, man. Man, Winston says, do y'all still JV deals? Yeah, no doubt, man. Still JV deals. You can hit me up on IG, send it over, man. You know, I'm REI next door on IG. What's good, man? What's good?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah,
Shout out to
what's
Wolf of
going on,
Wall
man?
Street.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, man. Yeah, just building this business is a big thing. The other thing I would say, if you want to consistently do deals, is one thing that helped me for sure. You gotta think 10x. Whatever you're doing right now, whatever you're doing to reach out to people, to do whatever you're doing, you gotta think, I need to do 10 times what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do I consistently do deals? Go 10 times harder than where you're going right now. You know, you doing one deal every now and then, go 10 times harder and see what happens. Them
10
deals.
times more calls, 10 times
Deals.
more, whatever you're doing. If you putting out bandit signs, put out 10 times more. If you
Yeah,
$100 and you saying, "Man, I'm gonna write down 10 properties every day," go write down 100 properties.
exactly.
I promise you stuff going. Because I was just about to ask you too, real quick before we got off here, man, was we're talking about the overall concept of the business, but I want to speak to a certain part of the journey to a guy, like an actionable step you can take right now. Because obviously, to put the right people in place and all, that takes some time. That's not something you do by the end of the week. I mean, I guess you could. I ain't gonna take it away from nobody. If you got enough Red Bull, you can get it done. But uh, to a guy who maybe he's done 3 deals, it's been 5-6 months, he's done 3 deals, and he's trying to figure out how to crank it up. What does he need to do? Because he can't just go like finding the right people and all that. What is, and I think the 10x part too is just like, dude.
Yeah, you need a 10x for sure.
Yeah.
You need a lead manager for sure. You need
Yeah.
a lead manager, man. And the person's not gonna be great at their role at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you know, gotta find somebody that's you're not good. If you go searching for the greatest, you know, you go searching for Steph Curry. It's like, oh man, I can't find Steph Curry. No duh. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, just get somebody,
Yeah.
put them in a position, see, let them work. Let's see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? They don't
Man.
work out. Let's replace them. Let's see what, you know what I'm saying? But get a lead manager, man. Get a lead manager.
Yeah.
If you increase your activity, you can get more leads. You get
Yeah.
a lead manager, manage those leads, follow up on those leads. You know what I'm saying? They get them high. You call them up, lock them up. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about increasing your marketing, managing your leads. You know what I'm saying? You got to manage them correctly. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who's showing any interest, let's get them an offer. Let's talk to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to get as many people toward the end of that process as possible. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, if nobody is getting the Cordero, you know, nobody's getting to the acquisition manager.
Yeah.
Something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, something wrong. It's like, we talked to this many people today, and nobody made it to this level. All right, let me go back and look. Okay, why didn't you send anybody to this level? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let me look here. Look, why didn't anybody? How many people? How many prospects turned into leads? How many leads got escalated to the acquisition manager? It's like I need to see where at in this process where stuff is stopping.
Yeah, man. I think
And I need to open up that avenue so it can flow.
exactly right. And I think what you're talking about, and Mark Spain talks a lot. I watched some Mark Spain interviews. He talks a lot about he read the book Relentless, and the goal is to find Michael Jordan before when he's in the league, he's already too late. You know what I mean? Or people say the best talent already got a job. You're gonna have to start stealing them from car dealerships or something like that. But if you could find somebody who's got the DNA if you read the book Relentless, the DNA of a champion, the DNA of a cleaner, somebody who just kind of like, I own this. I want to be the best in my position. If you put me there, give me the opportunity. But once you find a man, work with them, build with them over time. But the acquisitions process boils down to one thing. If this whole business boils down to one thing, is talking to people, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so if you really break down the acquisition funnel, it's marketing, lead management, and then acquisition or prospecting, lead man, whatever you do, prospecting, marketing, lead management. So it generating new leads and following up, and then getting the sum total of that over to acquisitions. That's what it is.
And acquisition is just the person who's gonna put them under contract.
Exactly.
That might be you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it might be you, and all of it might be you.
Especially in this stage.
You might be the person who calling people. Okay.
Yeah.
All these people I call, which one of these people actually somebody that might need to be put under contract? And when they put under contract, we're not talking about what price they want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Talking about are they looking to sell this property?
Do they have a real problem that we could solve by buying their property from them or getting their property sold for them? Or, that's just the same thing, just worded different, but that's big. And so it's not centered around price. If you think it's all about price, or you talking to a seller who's trying to make it all about price,
doing the deals. That's why it's like I called all the people. They want too much money. Everybody wants too much money. Everybody wants too much money. No duh, everybody wants too much money. But that same person, a month from now, you're gonna look it up on Zillow. Oh, they sold their house. Oh, they sold their house. Oh, they sold all these people that you didn't talk to. They done sold their house, but they didn't sell it to you because only thing you was talking about was the price.
Exactly.
Like, the key word is need to sell, right? Need, not want, not maybe.
I'll sell it for the right price. A lot of that down here in the South. I'll sell it for the right price.
Right.
Dog, do you want to sell? Like, are you actually in the market to sell your property at this time? Like, you're looking to sell? That's like, that verbiage is very important. You know what I mean? That's why, are you actually looking to sell the property at this time? Even at the acquisition stage, when a deal has gone through 2 forms of qualification and then got to me, that's the first question I asked them over again. You're actually looking to sell your property, right? I was talking to my lead manager. She said, I just want to make sure you're looking to sell. And then whatever they say from there, that kind of tells me how the rest of that conversation about to go. Well, if you give me the right price, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes that could be a hit, but most of the times that person is just wasting time. I'll go through the conversation. But if they say, I gotta, I just got shot in my foot, and so I gotta sell the house to pay for my foot surgery. I'm like, let me help you out, sir. But that's
we have a couple of people that we talk to right now that need to sell.
Yeah,
like they're going to sell the house. Like the house gonna get sold. You know what I'm saying? The only question is, are we gonna be the people that they sell the house to?
Matter of fact, we got a guy, and the question ain't is he gonna sell it to me or Byron? He's like, I think Byron called him and then I called him, and I don't think he realized that we was the same. So he's like talking to us. I'm like, oh, he don't even notice that we the same person. But you know. And we like, man, I don't know if Byron gonna get it or Cordero gonna get it, but I think that's a big thing. And again, when I'm talking to the guy who you ain't done 10, 20 deals, or you ain't so far along to the point where it's like time to start bringing people in. I mean, it's always a good time if you find the right person and the circumstances work themselves out, but you're still basically doing everything yourself. What are some things that you need to do is like, I think the next person, if you don't already have somebody like doing all like the cold calling and marketing, is finding maybe a VA or somebody to do the lead management, because the follow up, or even if it's you, figure out a way to
you're
do
doing a
more.
lead man.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that whoever you talk to that might be interested, okay, when are we gonna talk again? You know what I'm saying? They say, oh, I need to go do this, or I need to go do that. I'm waiting on this, I'm waiting on that. Like, that's my biggest thing always on any call. It's like, okay, what kind of timetable are we talking about on this? When are we gonna talk again about this? You know what I'm saying? Okay, when are you gonna be able to talk to your wife? When are you gonna be able to, let your attorney see the contract? When are you gonna be able to, whatever it is that need to happen, what timeline is gonna happen in? Okay, when are we gonna talk again? Oh, Tuesday at 3:00. Got you down right here. Boom. So that Tuesday at 3:00, you can call them back. And you do that for all your different leads that's interested in selling. And after a while, each day, you're going to have a list of people. Oh, I need to call this person back at this time, this person back. You know what I'm saying? I used to ride home from school. I'm on the phone the whole time I'm going home. On the phone. I'm riding down the road. My car ain't got no app. I got to let the window up and talk to them on the phone so they don't,
Boy, hey, I've been there. I've been there, bro.
Burning up up in this thing, talking to
My
somebody.
car used to be my office, dude, and I had no AC, and it was hot, and it was summertime, and I was just in that mode. I'm gonna roll the window up, and I just park my car, just whatever, go out to my car to get some peace and quiet. So I'm just doing all my calls in there, boy. Steep sauna. It was good because you get a good little sweat in, you know what I mean, and you get some calls in. But that's a different type of hunger right there, where I'm sweat dripping down my face and I'm trying to lock up a deal. That's a different type of dude right there. You don't want to mess with that, Cordero. But regardless of if it's you or somebody on your team doing it, is the point is you got to put more input. You got to be consistent with your input, and it's not guaranteed to come how you want it. Guaranteed to come as quick. And something could happen that you need, that you didn't anticipate. But if you stay consistent, and then you'll get consistent outcome and consistent deals. But at some point, it's about leveraging people and other people's time, whether that's a couple bucks an hour for a VA, or once you start to get more and more and more, you can start figuring out a way to bring stateside people in to leverage their time. But the better you get at it, you just get stronger and stronger as you go. It's like one of those, I don't care if you play the game or if you've seen it on some type of social media website. It's one of those like zombie hunter games where you're like shooting and like you make this choice and then you get like 3 people on your team to just like kill the zombies. And then you eat this little power up pellet. And now you got 15 people on your team to start killing zombies. And as you go, you level up and you get a lot more, you can handle a lot more zombies at that point or whatever. Like, I don't know what type of, I just always see those games at random. I've seen them too, by the way, but it's like that. And like the more you grow, the more you can tackle, but just stay consistent, and that's the trajectory. And so at some point you want to start leveraging people, but regardless, 10x your input and stay consistent. Do y'all do deals in GA? If so, I have a property under contract, need help finding a buyer. Hey, Byron, would you have to
drop the address, man? We'll look at it for you right here, man.
Do you know anybody that's doing deals in Georgia?
Man, I don't know if I know anybody who's doing deals in Georgia. Maybe Cass doing deals in Georgia.
Nah, Cass doing deals in Milwaukee. Cass doing deals in Alaska. That's a close deal in a Burger King. Had to, hey,
that phone, dude.
Man,
hey, for real, Stu. Man, drop the address right here in the comments, or hit me up on IG. Drop it in the comments, man. We like to look at it. We can talk about it right here, man. Let you know. Oh man, over there in Cedartown, man. You know who from Cedartown?
Little baby.
Football player.
You got me.
Running back.
Got me beat, man. I don't know who it is. Hold on. Nah, you got me beat. I was about to try to,
Playing for the Georgia Bulldogs.
I'm done. I'm tapped out. I won't win this.
Man, see if anybody gonna tell me who from Cedar Town.
Somebody put it in there, man.
Smooth might be from Cedar Town himself. Yeah, Smooth knows. Smooth must know something about Cedar Town. He must be out there.
Who you talking about the other day?
Yeah, Nick Chubb, man.
Shout out to Nick Chubb.
Shout out to Nick Chubb, man. He be toting that thing though. I'm gonna have to get him in my fence. He be toting that thing though. But shoot, man, yeah, let's look at this thing, man. Let's look at this thing.
Tell me that song.
See what it's talking about.
Hey, Smooth. Are we looking it up, man? Is it a deal? Is it a deal?
Exactly. Is it a deal? What you got under the contract for though?
Is it a deal?
This might be a darn trailer or something, man.
It's the T1.
I didn't see the there.
It's one of them. Look at the map. The way the map looked, it looked like
in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, but if buyers is buying there, you can get it off. Man. Somebody keep buying it. You can get it off.
Still do a mobile home too.
I ain't never wholesaled a mobile home, but you can get it off. I know somebody who has wholesaled a mobile home. It was really for the land.
What county is that in? Is it Floyd County? What county is Cedar Town in?
30125. I think that's where OJ the Juice Man from.
What?
Not just playing. Polk County. He said, y'all.
He must be from Cedar Town, man.
Man, dog said he got it for 75.
75? That is close right there in Cedar Town. You probably gonna need that thing like 60 or 50. You probably need it at 50. Go up buying it, probably gonna need it at 60.
You see, Smooth, we're talking about the numbers, but let me ask you this. If you could type it, why do they want to sell? Why does this particular person want to sell? Because you don't got as far as getting them under contract and everything. They got a reason that they want to sell. What is it? I'm curious of that.
Yeah, I see the property.
Is it some buyers in that area, Byron?
I mean, it's buyers in the area, but I'm just looking at the property. Here you go, the property right here.
Okay, it's not a trailer. Is that
the trailer? There's a bunch of trash around here. That's for sure. But nah, it's not a trailer.
TAGA, that's where is that the current roof? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But let's look around it though. Let's look around it. Let's see what's happening around here.
See what's going on around here.
See what's going on around here. Has anything sold around this mug recently? Uh-oh.
Sounds so right down the street.
Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Bam, you got this about what you're looking at right here. This is another 30K. That's probably what you're looking at, because what what Smooth got right is how many bedroom, how many bath? I think it's
1. 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Nah, man, it's actually on the tax record 2 bath.
Is it 2 bath?
Yeah, on the tax records. I'm looking at the tax records.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at tax records. Tax records say it's a 2 bath. But man, to be honest with you, man, I think you're gonna need to be deep down in it.
Man, them Jones sold back in 2019. What sold this year?
Yeah, I'm looking at last 90 days right here. That's what I'm looking at right here. I think you need to be around that 55 range, because
75 might be where you get it off, or 65 might be where you get it off at. I had to walk away. You said, why? Yeah, why you want to sell it, man? If you
ain't
like
nothing around here, like ain't nothing happening in this area right here.
Why does he want to sell?
Like, look, this sold for 40. This sold for 45. So you know If you get it at 45, you can probably sell it for more than what this sold for. At least. This sold for 70. Man, this is a trailer. Maybe. You
I don't
might
even know if that's a trailer, man. That might just be a tent.
exactly. You might be close to a deal freeze, but you need to figure out who the heck bought this right here. What you need to find out for you. I mean, Smooth. I'm calling you freeze, man. Calling you daggone seller names around here. Smooth. Smooth. You're gonna have to figure out who bought this one. Let's look into this one and see who bought. We probably ain't updated the kind of records yet. They just bought this mug last month, and all they did. Let's go on the prop stream. We're gonna go on the prop stream and see. Do what that?
They bought it back in June.
Yeah, they bought it in June.
Yeah.
So maybe in prop stream they got it. Maybe not, but we're gonna check it out and see. I'm pulling up a prop stream right now. But dang. Good, man, I have a lot of comments over here.
What do you do if you can't?
Who played against Chubb? You know he ran you over, man. You already you know Chubb caught a body, man. Nobody can tackle Chubb in high school for sure. Like, dude, Chubb was running jokers over like crazy.
How you going in like that?
Oh yeah, Chubb know he running everybody over.
Hey, with a name like Chubbs,
huh?
Get out his way. I might step out his way in football practice, man. We just practicing. You gotta put it on me, boy.
Oh, you saw an example
like me.
What do you do? You can't find any comps within 10 years of the same year built. I mean, year built is not as bad. You know what I'm saying? You just need to find stuff that's actually selling in the area that's around the same bedroom, same bathroom, around the same square footage. If it's 10 years within, that'd be okay. You know, it ain't that bad.
Really just similar comps, man.
Yeah, 9 properties. This one, last one. Older guy, I wanted to get rid of it. He built it himself, so it's kind of strict on the price. Gotcha.
Hey, man, a property is worth what somebody will pay for it. And
oh man, you play a good thing. You play your running back, Mr. Smooth, because man, I know some of your teammates get ran over there. So give everybody the business.
250 yards.
Oh man, hey, he took it light on y'all because he took it easy.
Nah, for high school though, they giving him up. They giving up them yards. That's high school, man. 250.
Yeah, Chubb took it easy on y'all. Hey, Chubb brother came out at halftime. He probably didn't play the second half. 250 in the first half.
Man, stop juicing that man up like that, man. Smooth, drop how many yards you had that game. Man, tell Byron quit playing with you, man. That was going bar for bar. Play touchdown for touchdown. But Smooth, we talking to a lot of them investors that are similar. Like, dude, basically he's a tired landlord if I had to categorize him. And he's got like sentimental value. And I think with this person, because we never lost in them. Ooh, hold on. Yeah. Put some respect on Smooth name. Told you.
What's that?
Told you put some respect on. He said 200 yards. But he had 20 yards. Never lost. Never lost.
Who did you go to? He must went to like a bigger school or something.
He went to the school that Smooth went to. That's what they were saying.
Oh, they was that same team.
Yeah. But look though, Smooth, it's just like with this dude, he's a tired landlord, so that means he's an investor himself. I think the best strategy, and you got to work around his character, you know what I mean? But the best strategy is that you're going to have to explain it to him like, let's make it make sense. You're an investor. You bought properties. Would it make sense for you to buy this property and it needs this and that? Talk about the condition first. You already got them locked up. But if we can find you a buyer, you need to get them down to like that 65. So, okay, man, have you gone to look at it? Okay. Based upon the condition, we was able to take a look at it and, it's got this and that going on. How much do you think it will cost us to come in and fix this up? What do you think we could sell it for? Or what do you think we could rent it out for? Get him to give you that information because he's an investor, right? He's been a landlord before, right? And so you got to get him away from that sentimental value. He wants to sell and then say, okay, well, this is your last property. You sold all them other ones. Have you thought about just keeping this one, maybe one last one? Oh, no, 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 no. I'm selling my property. I'm getting no, no. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of renting properties out. I'm tired of this. Well, I mean, what about listing this property? Have you thought about fixing everything up, replacing the roof on it, and doing all that, and listing it on the market? Like, make it sound like that's a long process, and doing all of this, and doing all of that, and then putting it on the market, and then finding a realtor. And then he's gonna be like, no, why would I want to do? I was like, okay, well, if we can get you a cash as is offer, what's the best we can do? I don't think we can make that 75K work, but we're not too far off. Is there any wiggle room? What's the Mr. Seller? What's the best we can do? And we can close on a property quick, get you to retiring, get you off into the Bahamas as quick as possible. You know what I mean? And tell them that you ran over Chubbs back in high school, dog. And I think that'll be a solid little point. I'm just trying to give you like a game plan. If you do got to go get them down to 65 or 60 with this seller, I've been running into a lot of these guys. It's just like, oh, I got 30 properties. I ain't just going to give it away. And I'm just like, I got sentimental value attached to it. So it's just like, but that doesn't make sense. So again, I'm talking about going over all of that as strategy, but ultimately you need to get away from talking about the price and those things and talk about, well, do you try to go negative on them? So do you want to keep it? Would you be interested in keeping it or whatever? And just the goal is, and you can create any clever, creative way to do this. The goal is to say, why do you want to sell it? And get him to discuss it. Don't try to say it for him. That's the biggest thing that I do wrong a lot of times. I think people do is wrong. It's like you try to put the person's reason in their mouth for them. But no, ask the right probing questions or even go negative. And go negative means, have you thought about listing it? What about just keeping it and renting it? Going negative, he's going to say no. But get him to like use that to pull out the motivation and be like, no, I don't want to do that because this and this. Or just simply, man, we want to get it done. I just want to know what's the most important thing for you. Is it that, that we can close quickly? Is that we can buy it in as is condition? What's the most important thing to you, right? And then he'll be able to tell you, he's like, man, I just want to get this thing sold. Okay, 65, 50. Go, I would anchor low too. If you need them at 65, say 50. And then work your way. No, I can't do 50. That's out of the question. Absolutely cannot do 50. Okay. What can you do? You can't do 50. Like I said, I don't think our investors are going to be able to do 75, but we're not too far off. And I know we can close on this property and get it closed for you. What can you do? And let him say, 60. I think we can do that. You know what I mean? That's what it should look like. But yeah, man, it's just some food for thought. If you do got to go get them down, think about that. Start talking about the real reason he wants to sell. Pull that out of him and use that to his advantage, because ultimately the number, it ain't about price all the time, every time. It ain't all about price every time. But if you done got this far, if you have gotten this far, okay, I will say something though. Say, back to your question, what do you do if you can't find any comps within 10 years? Or I think you just mean in general, any comps similar and you're in an area. Honestly, I think what we do is our overall strategy, our overarching strategy is to find a buyer, we pick a target market that's already popping. And so we can look past the past 90 days and say, okay, they're doing stuff in this market. Things are going. And let me find a buyer in a market that's already popping. And then say, hey, what you've been buying in the past 90 days. So then we're going to pull a list that fits the criteria of properties that have already been bought by this particular guy or this network of buyers. Maybe it's 3, 4, 5 buyers. And so by the time we pull a list and we come up with that property, once you've done all of that to begin with, there's no way that you find properties that are that don't have comps, because that's why we do it that way. So that way you get to we're setting ourselves up for success. So that way you don't get to so far as locking somebody up and they don't have there's no comps for it or something like that. You know what I mean? You mitigate all of that by the way you set yourself up in the beginning. That's the reason why we do that. So it's like, if it doesn't have comps, then ultimately, do you have a buyer who will buy that property is what you really need to be asking. Um, yeah, that makes sense for real, man. I feel like he really do just want it sold, but since he built it from the ground up, he's super attached to it. But I'll definitely use that. Um, and what I've done before is I just flat out asked the person. It was in the moment, so I don't know how you would set it up. But if he mentions that again, well, like I said, man, I built this from the ground up, and so you say, oh, so it has sentimental value to you, and I'm like, yeah, it does. Well, it's just like, well, honestly, man, we are investors and we want to get this property sold, but we can't buy based upon sentimental value. But we can purchase the property and get you what I would, a all cash as is offer. And it does need a little bit of work. And so we can't necessarily buy based upon the sentimental value, or I would say, so it has sentimental value. Yeah. So, have you thought about keeping it? Maybe keeping this last property in the family? Again, that's me going negative. I don't want him to be like, you know what, I'm going to keep it. Thank you, sir. Click, bye. But I do want him to say, no, I can't keep it because this is the reason why. When you go so far negative, he's got to tell you the truth. He's got to bring you back to reality, and then you get him to say it. So it's just like, okay, so you say this property, basically you would say it has some sentimental value, man. You actually built this property. Yeah. Okay. Well, have you thought about keeping this property? Maybe it might be better to keep it. And then he's gonna be like, no, I gotta sell it because this and this and this. And explore. Keep that curiosity in your tone. Like, oh, really? I mean, you don't want to keep it, but you built it. I mean, so why? Like, why are you want to, why do you have to sell it? Let me know. But for sure, Smooth. And I appreciate you for dropping that 200 on your boy Chubbs, for sure. For sure. But yeah, Zay, you just got to make sure. I think what I would say preemptively is make sure that you're getting properties that already are in hot areas, that you're already even in searching in that area. Because I used to do that in the beginning too. The way I was pulling my leads, and I was just trying to find the hot list, right? I was trying to find the hot list, and the quote unquote hot list consists of a type of seller and not necessarily a type of property in a targeted area. You see what I'm saying? You could pull a pre-foreclosure list for Davidson County, which is Nashville, but that'll just pull all the pre-foreclosures. But what if it's a poor part of town? What if it's a pre-foreclosure in the hood? What if it's a pre-foreclosure on the outskirts where nobody's buying in that particular area? So it's just like buying the area before you even pull the list, before you even start calling, before you even get, you've already targeted an area that's guaranteed to have comps. You see what I'm saying? It's like it come with comps.
My bad, man. Trying to get some deals done, man. Trying to get a deal done.
For sure.
So you done broke it all down to him?
I hope so.
Yeah, we in Georgia though, man. For sure. Well, Cordero in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm in Georgia, man. I'm in the area, but not Cedartown, but I'm close enough. But man, I think you probably too high.
Hey, was that
do what?
Was that ever?
No. That was somebody else. That was on something else. But I think you need to be around, to be honest with you, I think you need to be around 40, 50. That way you can sell for like 60. Maybe you can find somebody to buy it for 70. Because they ain't flipping that property. Like, that property is not a flip. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be like a rental property. So somebody will buy it for like 60, right? But I don't think they buying it for like 80. They're not going to buy that for 80. But they may buy it for 60. So you can get them at 50, sell it for 60. I think you might have something. You know what I'm saying? But you definitely need to take a different type of investor to buy this kind of property anyway. So you need to start looking for buyers. Is a big thing. Like if you had a buyer right now,
Yeah.
you can hit him up and say, "Hey, got this property." He can look at it just like we looked at it right here, and he'd be
Yeah.
like, "Probably need it for like 54."
Yeah.
Bam.
Because that's what
That's all.
comes to
Now you
deal.
got a number 54. Now you're going back to the seller, and
And
you
you
know
know
what
what
the
to
deal is.
what to talk around. You know what you can work with. But ultimately, like I said, the buyer, a property is worth what someone will pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's a buyer's market at all times. It's just which one, I always say that, but you know what they mean when they say buyer or seller's market. But that's what constitutes a deal. That answers both Smooth and Zay question. Is you need to be in a place where there are buyers. Because if there are buyers, then that means there will be comps. And
But
if there
there's
are
buyers everywhere. It's harder to find them in some places than others.
But
You know
where that you have a buyer, you need to be
what
looking for properties that you have a buyer. So that way, when this come up, you're not saying, "Is this a deal?" You
I'm
ask,
saying?
you go to him like, "Hey, would you buy this?" Is the question
Yeah.
that you ask. Not, "Is this a deal?" Hey, would you buy this? And if so, where would you need it at?
Yeah. So I would say go find some people who are interested in buying in the area, and bam, you'll have a deal. You'll know if you have a deal or not. What happens is you put people under contract without a buyer, and then they say no, you fall out of contract, because you ain't got no buyer. You know what I'm saying? You may meet somebody later, like this happened. This happened to me. Put somebody under contract, had no buyer, fell out of contract. Later on, like a month later, I found me some buyers because I was doing other business. I said, hold on, what about this one that fell through? I sent them the property that fell through. They said, oh yeah, we can pay this amount, and that amount worked. Did the deal. Called them back. Hey, it's like, I think we good now. You know what I'm saying? Did the deal. You got to have the buyers, man. But yeah, look for some buyers out there in Cedartown, man, for sure. I mean, we looked on Zillow, but like, so to find buyers, how do you find buyers? Dude, go on this market,
Click on our
Cedartown,
other video.
do what that?
I said, click on our other videos
Yeah, click on the other
for
video. We
more
talk
in depth
about buyers,
breakdown finding buyers for sure.
but ain't nothing flipped, like, and that's not a flip property, but just start calling like people who got stuff listed, like the agents. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of these agents, call them, call the agent. Just be like, hey, got this property, or do you work with any investors? Just call all these people who got properties. Hey, do you work with investors? Do you work with investors? That's what I was saying. Like, do you work with investors? Or, somebody got something up here for rent, like Karita was talking about the other day. Call up this property management company. Hey, would your client be interested in more rental properties?
Man, do that. Do that. You got to build a relationship with the owner. And if you get the lady at the first desk, she gonna act like she don't speak English, speaking English. Like, oh, I just don't know. We don't. This is blah blah blah. You got to figure out your way to get in. And
Or
that's
find these owners. You know what I'm saying? They rent now in Cedartown.
yeah.
Find
But
owners.
my
Like,
thing is
the
when
property
you
address.
yeah, definitely do that. But my thing is when you find like a property manager or like a real estate agent, that's always been my favorite is find one person that has access to many buyers. Like those people are really clutch. And so, definitely like there's a lot of ways that you can do that, but those are some of my favorite ways is when you find like a real estate agent or a property management company or um like just the owner of a brokerage in general or something like that. Uh or like a New Western or something like that, which I don't really like working with New Western, but they can get some stuff done. But you find them, then you got access to not just one person, one buyer. The return on your efforts is tremendous because now that person gave you they got like 100 buyers in their own pocket.
Trying to find this person for them. Business search. Dang. Gotta search for these people. We'll find them though. Ah, dang. Yeah. Let me see. Sometimes you just look up their mailing address, even if it ain't where they stay. Whoever's at that place is gonna know that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man. I mean, I would call these people. Like, don't right here. I would just call them. It's these people who own the property right here. You know, I would just call. Like, hey, is your client looking for more properties to rent? I got a property that might be interested in. I would just call them up. These people too. I would just call them. Hey, you working with an investor? Do you work with investors? Because this is probably just a person. You know what I'm saying? I would call them up. That's what I would do.
Or partner up with other wholesalers and they got buyers galore, like a Byron. And then that person, again, my whole point is like there you could definitely find buyers and find particular buyers, but I like to find the places where I can find one person who's got access to many buyers. That's just always clutch. But yeah, still. But as far as finding a buyer for this deal, I think that's what Byron's really focused on. Is like, um, oh yeah, and remember, man, that would have been a good video. The one from Kentucky where we like had a particular deal. I didn't end up closing on it, but just like you call see somebody who's flipping in that area. I think you already clicked on that one.
Nah, I was going back to get the address. I'm about to call this property management people.
See how that goes. You know how that go. You already know.
Yeah, that is. Here's Luke. Let me see. Oh man.
I already told you.
Yeah, that's a real estate.
That's property management company for
Well,
sure. That's real estate because you know how we be calling people. It's like, why you not answering your phone? Like essentially, we calling them with money right now. If they got the buyer and we get them a deal, you gonna get paid and they gonna get paid. And we calling them with some money. And they
yeah,
not.
for sure. But just reach out to them, man. It's like, hey, do y'all work with investors that might be interested in personal or rental properties?
And I
They
would say,
probably do. In Cedartown, there can't be too many real estate brokerages, period. So, you just need to get connected with the right people, man, for sure. But shoot, man, we've been on this thing almost an hour and 15 minutes, man. We about to roll up out of this thing, man. I'm gonna go eat my last little salad for the day, man. 4-6 o'clock Cordero, and then I'm out for the rest of the day, man.
shoot, man.
Tomorrow.
When I started off like that, I started at 8 o'clock, then go to 7, then work my way back to 6. Boy, you about to go to bed. Your stomach gonna be talking to you, dog.
You are
Your stomach in your back gonna be shaking hands, man. Hey,
Hey, you know what I'm gonna be doing? Listen to that Grant Cardone, though.
you better drink some water. Drink some
Hey,
water.
that ET. Some people
Hey,
say they want it, but they don't really want it. They just kind of want
hey,
it.
what your mama used to say, man? Go to sleep, you won't be hungry. Go to sleep, you won't be hungry. What you mean?
Oh man. Hey, appreciate y'all coming through though, man. We're gonna come back tomorrow and do this thing again, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. This was a good one for sure.
Appreciate you, class.
But appreciate y'all coming through though, man. Smooth, hit us up, man. Hit me up on IG REI next door. I'll help you out, man. We'll jump back on the call with you, holler at you real quick, man. But
we jump on the call with Caretha. I'm just gonna say that.
Dude, Caretha got to come through on Sunday, man. I'm calling her out. She got to come through on Sunday, man. Come chop it up with us.
Come on, Caretha.
Man, but shoot, all right then, man. Appreciate y'all. Hey, Karina probably jump on the call with us tomorrow, man. We're gonna hit her up tomorrow. We're gonna hit
Please,
Karina up
please.
tomorrow, just during the day. Just see what she
Yes,
doing.
man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But
Man.
anyways, man, we'll
Shout
holler
out
at
to
y'all,
you.
man. Y'all have a good one.